for joining us. I have 3:31, so we'll get started with introductions so that those people just joining in can certainly get in before we start digging right in. My name is Loretta Cabu-Dow. I'm your chapter and membership coordinator for SkillsUSA California. We have several people on the call from the state office with us today. Our director, Clay Mitchell, our administrative assistant, Tanisha Jones.
Hello.
Our region, we have a few regional managers on the call today, Antonio Garcia. And we have Ashley Conger. Did Tom make it on the call today? Okay. And then from our national office, Marcia Strickland, thank you for joining us today all the way back in Georgia. Thank you so much for being on this later call for you. I appreciate that as we work with our advisors trying to meet their needs outside of their instructional time. So we're going to dig right in. Our team is monitoring the chat. So if you have questions along the way, please drop them in the chat. And Antonio and Ashley will be making sure we get to those questions. And we have, a pretty packed session. So we hope that you will get a lot out of how to register your members in the most efficient way possible. And Marcia is our guru. So we have the right person on the line to help us with that. Thank you, Tanisha, for that reminder. Okay, so here we go. I would like to introduce Clay Mitchell to start us off.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for being here on a Friday afternoon, and we'll get you ready for your holiday weekend and provide you with some really critical information that hopefully will ease the process as you start your journey through SkillsUSA and registering your students. So again, this is an information session. As they mentioned, please type in your questions to the chat because our goal today is to answer those questions for you. One of the things we do in California is trying to make it as cost effective as we can, is we have a total participation plan for our state. So what does that mean? It means that all of the students that you have, and you may have 5 sections a day. Let's say you teach automotive service technology and you have periods 1 through 5. If you join a chapter, if you join one section, a section is a class, you would join all of the students in that section as members, because our thought is, and we understand that you're going to be teaching SkillsUSA to all the students in that classroom. To make that cost effective for you, we've reduced the membership fees to $10, and it's really not a membership fee, it's really a materials fee. And that allows you to use Perkins funds to pay the fee, or it allows you to use CT incentive grant funds to use the fee. And if you aren't sure of what those are, if you're not sure if your program receives them, certainly talk to your CT coordinator at either your campus or your district to find out if those are some things that you receive for your program. And it becomes important later on because as the State Department of Education comes out and does their reviews of the Perkins funds and the CT incentive grant funds, if a program receives Perkins funding, they're going to want to know if that program has or is part of a CTSO. And so again, SkillsUSA qualifies you for that. It is an allowable expenditure. And again, we reduce those costs so that it's not as expensive. A typical membership organization for post-secondary would be $40 a member. You're getting it for $10 per member, and you're getting all of the learning materials that go along with that, which would cost you $24 just on that piece alone. So try to minimize it. We got some grants available, so we'll make that work. I see a question about, will you have access to the slides? Yes, you will. We are going to provide this information to you later on so that you have access and can reflect back on it. So thanks for that question. But I just wanted to—
And we are recording for you.
We're recording as well. So that's just an overview of the total participation plan and the benefits of membership as you see there. Those learning materials, one of the great things about being part of SkillsUSA is we do have Career Essentials, which is an online learning system. And it's a suite of materials. And those are things you can implement in the classroom today if you chose to do so. You sign up, you put your members in, we get those materials out to you electronically. there are lesson plans that go with it. So it's pretty seamless with regards to how to implement it. You have access to the technical standards, which are the things that talk about our contests. There's a lot of leadership opportunities that come along with it, and also competitive events that are part of being a member of SkillsUSA. So just wanted to give you a brief overview of that. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tanisha Jones, who's going to talk about invoicing and payments and that sort of stuff. So Tanisha.
Hello. So just going over the affiliation fees quickly. The secondary chapters, which are our middle school and high school chapters, the student cost, as Clay mentioned, is $10 each, and that includes all of the curriculum and everything. The advisor fee is $40 each, and you have to have at least one advisor per training program that you have registered. We also allow administrators and professionals to register for $40 each as well. And then on the post-secondary level, which is college or anything beyond the 12th grade level, students and advisors and administrators and professionals, everyone is $40 each. On that level, there's a minimum of 7 students that are required because it's not under the TPP. And the difference in the billing between those two is that secondary chapters, so all middle school and high school chapters, will not receive an invoice from the national office. So you cannot go into the online registration system and access your invoices there. We actually invoice you from the state office level, which our invoices are emailed to the billing email that is on file, and they are sent using our QuickBooks system. So you'll receive an email, and when you open it up, you can scroll down, and there's a little button that says review or pay. And when you click on that, it will open up the invoice itself, a PDF version, which is also attached to the email. And all of the information will be there. The remittance address will be there, and who the check should be made out to, SkillsUSA California. I did want to note that SkillsUSA California and SkillsUSA Inc. are separate entities. We should always be registered as separate vendors in the systems because one is located here in Sacramento, California, and the other one is located in Leesburg, Virginia. So it definitely payments get pushed all over the place when they're not created properly. But our address is listed on every invoice. So just go ahead and look at the invoice if you're ever not sure. And the membership fees, we actually do not bill them immediately. Like right as soon as you register, there isn't anything that automatically generates because the system is not ours at the state level. It's actually run by the national office. So there's no way for us to actually just have one sent out like that. So we do them in rounds. So the first round usually occurs at the same time that the regional conference registration closes, which this year will be November 13th. And then I go ahead and I gather all of those and I start sending them. So they're usually sent between a 2 to 3 week period. So I always say, or late November, early December. If you don't have it by mid-December, go ahead and email admin@skillsusaca.org and request it. But you should have it by that point. The second round takes place in late March or early April, and that is just for any additional members that may have been registered after the first round was cut off. As far as conferences go, all of those invoices will always come from the state level. So it doesn't matter if you're secondary or post-secondary, everyone will receive the invoices from the state level, which is, again, emailed through QuickBooks and that whole process. Each event has its own due date for the payment. Conferences, the due date is stated on, when you go to register, it'll say it on the little auto-generated invoice that you receive, and we'll put them on the invoices as well. And if you have any questions about billing or invoices or anything along those lines, you can always shoot an email over to admin@skillsusaca.org, and we will get back to you, usually within like 1 to 3 business days, depending on how chaotic and how many emails we're getting at that point. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Tanisha. We do have a question about, can advisors make payments online electronically?
Yes, you can make payments online electronically. So if you are needing a payment for yourself specifically, your email address would need to be listed in the billing contact because we automatically send the invoices to those listed in the billing contact. So if you need yourself added or you just need it on this one specific invoice, go ahead and just shoot an email over to admin@skillsusaca.org and let us know what school you're with and what it is that you need the invoice sent to you for, if you are not the person who's generally listed as a billing contact, and we can get that sent over to you. the QuickBooks system does allow online payments. When you receive the email and you scroll down and you click on the review and pay button, you can actually pay a portion of the invoice. There's like a little pencil that you can click on, and it lets you edit the amount that you're paying. And that is where you would just go ahead and change it to however much you're paying. If you're only paying your portion and you're not paying the entire invoice, you can do that. And then it accepts bank cards, debit cards, Visa cards, pretty much all of those. It even accepts Apple Pay. So pretty much anything that you have, you can pay online with.
Okay, Tanisha, while we move on, take a look at the chat. There's some other questions that you might be able to address. So I would like to cover quickly some really fast approaching deadlines. We want to make sure you have access to the things that are important to you. So to be eligible to compete, and that's a lot of what's kind of the talk right now is being ready to compete. You must do the following all by November 13th. You must register your members, including yourself as an advisor and the students, and do not forget to click the join now, which you'll see in a minute. And you must complete the level 1 of the Chapter of Excellence program. And this is a very easy 6-step process to, I like to say it validates your active participation in the CTSO. In SkillsUSA, and these links will be, we already have links to all this posted on the website, but we will email out these slides to those attendees of this seminar, as well as post with the video on the website and let you know where we posted that. You also will need to register for the Regional Leadership and Skills Conference. And those are separate. That's a separate step from registering your members. So just because you register as a member does not mean you're automatically entered into the conference registration. So you'll get to see some of that system in just a moment. So make sure you understand that you have 3 things that need to be accomplished by November 13th. And we're certainly, excited and willing to help you from the regional managers, from myself, Tanisha, from Clay, and our national hotline. They're all really, really helpful. So, but now I would really like to use the majority of our time to spend with Marcia Strickland from SkillsUSA National Office. She's a Senior Manager, Customer Care Team, Office of Education. So Marcia, I'm going to stop sharing so that you can get yourself in here and show off a little for us.
All right, let me share my screen here, and I'm going to look away because I'm using 2 monitors, but do know that I'm paying attention. So feel free if there's questions. I know we're running on limited time here, but I think we'll have a little time for that as well. So, and Loretta, you correct me, but I think our major point here within membership was that we were going to talk about an auto upload. Since we are talking about registering entire classes, we want to make sure that everyone knows how to do that. So you would come and log in to your SkillsUSA account. And first, let me make sure, is everyone seeing my screen as for the registration portal?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So then we would move to membership.
Marcia, are you able to zoom in just a little bit?
I can definitely try. Let's see.
Okay.
Does that make a difference, Loretta?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So you would come in here to membership, and of course you can register traditionally by clicking on membership next to your training program and just adding your members there as well. But for today, we're going to look at the membership upload, and to do that, we will go to the top of the page and hover over membership until we receive this drop-down menu. We will go to upload membership data. Before we do that, I do want to bring your attention to the fact that each training program within this school has its own unique ID number that's listed over here at the right. And our chapter number here is listed in the bottom left. So that will be the same on your chapter as well. I point that out to you because these are important indicators or data points when we do our upload. So we're going to want to make sure we're paying close attention to that. We're going to come from this drop-down menu and we're going to choose Upload Membership Data. When we get here, we will see at the top that there is a video that we can watch. This video is 12 minutes in length. That is a little bit long, but it is advantageous to watch this because it is a detailed piece here. It's not hard, but you do have to do it exactly like it's laid out. You have two options for these uploads. You can do a simple option or you can do the full feature. If we do the simple option, we are only registering students on the simple option. And we are only supplying first and last names to that. So we would register our professionals just manually, and we would put our students in. On the simple side, we cannot designate what division these are either. So we would register however the school was set up, that's how those individuals would go in. On the full feature side, we could do both students and professionals. We would have to denote those with a code, S or P. Same thing for the division. You could register individuals in two different divisions, and then we can add much more additional data points or information for each of our members, such as home addresses, graduation year, phone number, or that email address. And I think all of us are beginning to recognize what an important piece an email address is as we begin to work within virtual conferences, distance learning, that this unique email address is real important. So that may be something that teachers want to look at as we move forward. And this information, anything you put into a membership record is pre-populated into a conference record that you use here. So it does save you a little time. For today's example, we're going to look at the simple template. So we come here and we must use this template that's provided for this upload for our members. And we're going to click here. And when we do, that loads up an Excel spreadsheet. It downloads it to our desktop. And that's not the correct Excel spreadsheet, but it's coming slowly here. Hopefully you are still seeing my screen. And do you now see? Perfect. So what we're looking at here is we're now looking at the upload template. What is very important here is our headers. We cannot change nor rearrange these headers in any way. They must stay like they are. And columns A, B, C, and D, we must maintain the integrity of these columns. So you'll see here that our chapter ID has already been taken from our information that we had already entered. Our chapter name is here. Each of those individual or unique section IDs, as well as the training program name. So I did not mention this as we began, but if you had additional training programs that needed to be on this upload sheet, you would do those prior in the management or on the membership portal before downloading this spreadsheet to make sure that you had all this correct information. This does give us the option for a gender, but it is not necessary. So I'm just going to take that out. Having said that, and I'm just going to do this as simply as I can and just do a few members here today. But let's say for architectural drafting, I want to register 2 members in architectural drafting. So I'm going to add a row. I'm going to copy and paste for architectural drafting. That way I now can enter 2 students here. I have 2 students for culinary arts. I'm going to copy and paste. And we'll do the same thing for nail care just to keep it simple today. Noticing that architectural drafting has the same chapter ID, the same chapter name, the same section, and the same training program. Same thing for culinary arts. We know if we copy and drag this down, that we're going to get that pre-populating on its own at times. It didn't do it there for me, but if I had drug up here, so you just want to be really careful that you're copying and pasting. And then you're just going to quickly come in here and you're going to add your names that you're joining. Forgive me, Loretta, because that's probably not right. But I did as good as I could with your last.
Yeah, that's okay. While you're doing that, I wanted to add that one of our advisors gave us some really good advice that they worked with their school registrar and gave them the template, and they were able to populate it for them in advance. So
Right.
that
So
is an option.
it is, and so helpful as well. And so most people already, and so that's what's so great about that is you already have most of that information already in some kind of Excel spreadsheet so that you can take that, and we'll just do a little test here. So once you've got your information in there, you're just going to save that to your desktop. And you're going to come back here. You're going to browse for that file. You're going to go and find the file. And this was ours here, this test 2. I hope that was the right one. I've been playing with this today. And then you're just going to say up, once it's in there, you're just going to say upload selected file. And if we followed our directions, we're going to get this great little success. If we get an error, it's going to tell us an error as well. And it's going to send us over a report telling us that. So basically our members are now, we can see that they've been uploaded here. We do still have to go through that process of join. So if we had our professional members, we would come here, add a member, put our names, so it only requires first and last name, then as much information as you want to put. For a professional, you're going to make sure that you always change the type field to professional, and a professional needs that email address for those great resources they're going to receive. Basically, that's how that works. Quick look at if you want to see the wrong one. The template here for this one looks very much like the other one, and it works the same way in the fact that you have to maintain that data within those first 4 columns. And then in here, this is the one I talked about where you would designate whether this was a student or a professional with an S or a P. And if they were post-secondary or post-secondary with the same thing, S or a P. And then the rest of this is optional. So first and last name, the level, and the division, and then maintaining this. So is there any questions with that?
Marcia, I was just going to add, because thank you so much for this.
Sure.
The advantage of entering that information now, if you use the full template, is later on when you go to register for a conference or some other event using the system, that information will already carry over from the membership registration into the conference piece. And so it's one of those, you can do it now or do it later. And one of the things I've shared in past fall leadership events is you can use this, the registration of the students, you could use that almost as an assignment for the students. You would set up a couple of laptops, you could open it up, the students could input their information, you could go over and verify it, and that way you wouldn't have to do it. But I certainly like the idea of the upload because, as she mentioned, or as I heard her mention earlier, you could go to your registrar and have them do that for you as well. Makes it a lot easier. You would just share that template with them. They can pull that data down out of the student information system, and then they can hand it to you. You do the upload and you're done. Great ideas. No.
I think Clay makes a really great point, and especially if you've got somebody in a registrar's office helping you and they've got that information, because we know when it's conference time, we're all stressed and in a hurry. So that is pre-populating, and we know some of those data fields that we're not doing on that simple form are required for that conference registration. So that's a great point as well. So let's say we've got all our members in here. If we're ready to move on, Loretta, or is there any pieces here within the membership portal you want to see?
So that was the bulk of the finding that way to do it more efficiently instead of adding them one at a time. Do you want to show us what it looks like with the join now, Marcia? Because there are some steps that happen after that, and I just want them to be prepared for what that looks like.
Right. Great. So let's say we have our members in here, and let's just go and add a professional member really quickly so we know what that looks like. And we're going to make sure that we make her a professional.
I was waiting for Gail's birthday.
I'm not gonna get in that kind of trouble, Clay. And so we want to make sure that we put this email address in here because this email is what's going to be connected to your professional membership benefits. So we want to make sure that we have a good working email. We're going to save that. So now we have all our people in. And if you notice this joined, this column has no data because we've not gone to our final step. So there's a couple of ways we can get there. We can go to join this program from here, or if we were back on our main page where we were seeing all of our training programs, we could click on the join now located to the right of our members. And we're going to go here and it's going to ask us a couple of things. First, it's going to say, is this your email address? Yes, it is. Am I opting in or opting out of receiving emails from SkillsUSA? I will say you definitely can opt out of that. But if you're opting out, then just know that there are lots of scholarships and grant programs that are targeted at individual training program areas that you might miss out on. Having said that, this is because Gail is the person I signed up as a professional member, so I have the opportunity to opt out for her as well. But I'm going to come here and I'm going to say, okay, yes, I'm joining 2 members, 1 professional. I am joining under the affiliation agreement with California. And it's not letting me click the button. No, your agreement is, oh, I'm sorry. This one is not linked to your agreement, so it's not going to let me do it. But you would click this button here, and then this join now would be highlighted, and you would click that. Once that's done, everything is moving over into, we would come back here and we would see 2 student members here, 1 professional here, and they would have moved over at that point.
And Marcia, if I can, if you opt out, if you choose not to opt in, not only will you not lose the opportunity to get all of that information about scholarships and those things, you will also not receive emails from the state office because we use this same system as our main means of communication to talk about deadlines, to talk about all the things that you need to know on a weekly basis. We send out emails, and if you do not opt in, you will not receive those emails, and then later on you may miss a deadline or something. So I would just highly recommend that you opt in. We do not sell this information to anybody. As a matter of fact, we have a student data use agreement that we've signed with the national office. That was one of our districts, and it is a statewide document. So if your data people or your registrar needs proof that the data information system is safe, we are happy to share that with you, and it is valid throughout the whole state of California. So just a couple of thoughts there as you move ahead. I know student data is our big concern, so I wanted to share that with you.
Exactly. So that will cover pretty much our membership and getting yourself registered and your students. Once that's done, you're ready to get in your hands those career essentials and order your experiences, and also take a look at those professional membership benefits. So we do want to now navigate over to that portal as well. I do want to show you, if we come back to this main page,
Marcia,
yes.
before you hit that button and take us to the absorb, can you scroll up just a little bit here?
I can.
I just want to point out that the Chapter of Excellence program is right here as well. So when you're ready to fill out those 6 indicators in the application, it's right here. And so just know that it's all a part of the same portal. And Marcia's going to take us somewhere else real quick to show you how to get a hold of some of the really cool resources now.
I am. And so let's say that, hey, I want to see the technical standards, which are the contest guidelines. So we can click there, and it's going to take us to what is called Absorb, or the SkillsUSA Learning Management System. And so this page here is just a public facing dashboard. So we're going to want to log in here with our email address and our membership record. And we're going to log in. Once we log in, we are now within that learning management system. This is our account. We can see our profile here. We're going to roll down. Here's our shopping cart. So if we wanted to buy additional merchandise, we could do that from here. As a California school, and if you're receiving your career essentials experiences, you're just going to talk to a coach, and all that information is on your California website. Loretta and her office has done a great job of providing those steps to you and how to access those. Here is where you find your courses and your professional membership benefits. So we're going to take a look here. So we're on the learner side of our LMS at the moment. And we'll just take a look here. You see different folders because I've got lots of information in mine. You might not have but one or two of these, but you'll see one that is marked professional membership benefits. Click there and we can see that we have the framework integration toolkit. We have the jump into STEM curriculum, as well as a program of work toolkit, and then our technical standards. This information just out of these three is about 72 or so resources. These are packed full with engaging and just incredibly rich and robust resources, as well as I know most of you are familiar with your technical standards as well. And then if you've got students that are working within Career Essentials, you'll have instructor versions here. You'll have a folder there. You'll have instructor versions of the course that your students are in. So they may be in advanced or fundamental or exploratory. This course will mirror that student's course, except it does not contain the pre or post assessment. And it allows you to move through the course non-sequentially. So it's not like you've got to complete a whole unit before you can go and look at unit 2 like a student. So that's the advantage of that. This is a little admin account here, and it's basically just instructions. It's about the top 10 items that we have teachers ask us on a regular basis. You can go in and find written instructions or directions and also new videos as well. So really short little 1 and 2 minute videos to help you navigate the site. Just a couple of things here. We can use this hamburger icon for a menu to move around. We can also always come back to our dashboard here with the SkillsUSA logo. We were on the learner side of our account. As a teacher and an admin, you have an admin side as well that you can access here from this icon of the menu or the hamburger icon. You would click admin, and now you're on the admin side of your account. Here you can see a brief overview of your dashboard as well as your learners. You can see I've got 12 learners. On Wednesday, they were actually doing some work. And here we can go over here and look at my courses, and I can see what courses I have students in and how much time they've been there. What students or teachers really, they like this users piece here. You can go here to users. You can see everyone that is listed for your school or those students that you have there. You can create reports so that you can come in here and pull up. And so I like to look at this one. This one shows me the date the account was added. It also shows me the status of the account so that I can see that it is active. And one of my favorite pieces here is the last logged in date. So I can go down here and take a look at Beyonce and see that Beyonce's not been in her account since September. So I'm going to need to go and have a little chat with Beyonce. She needs to do some work there. So I can click on Beyonce here and highlight her row blue, and I can take a little deeper look into her user transcript if I want to. And I can see that she's really not even started her course. So let's take a look at someone that actually has.
Well, actually, Marcia,
We
we are running out of time, and we need to leave time for questions. And I appreciate the teaser on Career Essentials. We did host a fall leadership conference, and we had a breakout session specifically on Career Essentials. Those videos are posted on our website, and we had myself, a teacher who is implementing this very well in her classroom, and a national team. Sylvia Phillips was with us, and so I would encourage you to check that out. You do need to opt into Career Essentials, and there is the instructions for how you can do that for California advisors on our state website. So you won't automatically see any Career Essentials items in your LMS like Marcia was showing you. You do need to order access. It is not any additional cost. So it is included in your registration as California members, as long as you opt into it. So right now, Ashley, Antonio, I know you've been monitoring the chat. It looks a little long, and I wanted to open up for questions. And this is specifically regarding registration and how to do it. And other questions we'll be happy to address if we have time at the end. So Ashley or Antonio, do you want to start with one?
So working from the bottom up, we had one question. When registering students, do you do the join now for the students as well?
Yes, so you would do join now for everyone that was pending in that section, for students and for professionals. Yes.
And
Okay.
it'll do everyone that you've entered it, that you don't have to do it individually.
But you can come in and add people, like if you had 10 and then you had 10 more and the next day, if something of that nature, or a new class, you can come in and join people at different times.
And I would just like to share that once they're joined, they can't be deleted. And it's also very difficult to change their names. So I would have the students verify their names before you click the join now button. We've dealt with a number of situations in the past where a student's name is misspelled. It's just very difficult to change that. So please verify that information before you click join now.
Okay, and once the students are joined, do they have access to the system?
Students do not have access to the membership portal. The membership portal is only for teachers and school staff.
Okay, and do you recommend having the students join themselves?
Well, and then I will default to Clay and Loretta on this. Have you enabled self-registration within the state of California?
We have, and we will give it to the school if you request it. Just know that you know your students better than we do. And so if you feel that they're responsible enough to be able to enter the information correctly, and you feel that they can do that and you're comfortable with it, we're more than happy to click the button and allow your students to register themselves. Just know that if they register, and you have to hit the submit button, so they can put their information in, but they cannot submit themselves. So at that point, that'll give you a chance to look at it before you click that submit button.
Okay, Ashley.
Okay, so we got one from John. Are the students verifying the spreadsheet when they go in?
That would be up to the teacher how that was happening.
I personally think that's a great idea. I think you can actually print that off and you could pass it around the room and you could have them initial next to their name to do that, or have them come up to your desk so they're not like writing down everybody's name in the class.
Not this year, Clay.
That way they can come up and take a look at it.
That has worked in the past, but right now, maybe there would be a way for you to share using Google Classroom that they can check that spreadsheet, depending on which platform you guys use. But I think it's a good idea to have them check it. Now, if it's coming from the registrar directly, unless there's an error in your school registration system, I think you're pretty safe. But if they have a preferred name that they'd like to go by or something like that, that might be a thing to think about.